This is the first of what I hope will be a long-running playlist where I take a look at 3 editions of the same Quo album and ask whether it's worth upgrading to the latest edition of that album. Today I'm concerned with Status Quo's 12th studio album, which was Whatever You Want, released in October 1979 and reached a peak UK position of number 3. In its title track is one of the biggest and best known Quo singles, which became a live favourite. They have to play it live. It's just an absolute certainty, isn't it? It's a given. Plus it's been used in commercials and TV shows, and it's just absolutely wonderful, isn't it? The second single was Living on an Island, which I think is the complete opposite. It's not what you would expect from Quo. It completely smashes that idea that all Quo songs sound the same. And possibly in Rick Parfitt's vocal, it's one of his best vocals, I think, as well. It's just perfect from my perspective. The album kind of continued that commercial sound of the previous 2 albums, that experimentation, but perhaps had more of the feeling of the earlier Vertigo albums from 72 to 76. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comments below. So let's have a look at the first one. This is the original vinyl from 1979 with this really striking album cover. Now, when you think of the track listing of this, you look across all the songs, this is possibly the closest that Quo have ever come to a concept album, because all of the songs thematically and subject matter, they all fit together. Songs like Your Smiling Face, Who Asked You, Breaking Away, even Whatever You Want is all kind of about the press, about being in a band, about the rigours of being in a band, and all related subjects. In some cases it's sort of decades ahead of its time in critiquing the way in which the media, especially in the Lancaster written Who Asked You, like how they perceive things and how they control stuff. And this album cover emphasises that, doesn't it? Because these, I think, are supposed to be like representations of celebrity in that way. And of course we've got flashing lights here, which you used to get on cameras, like the flashes. You have cameras here. I'm sure this mystified many a Quo fan back in the day. Let me know your thoughts on the album cover. So let's have a look at the track listing for this. This had side 1, Whatever You Want, Shady Lady, Who Asked You, Your Smiling Face, Living on an Island, and then on side 2, Come Rock With Me, segged into Rockin' On. Then we had Runaway, High Flyer, and then finally, in the tradition of the great Quo long song, Breaking Away. So that was the original album, produced by Pip Williams. The next edition that I shall be talking about, this is the mid-2000s Tim Turan remaster of the album, which had the original track listing plus bonus tracks including Hard Ride, Bad Company, Another Game in Town, Demo, Shady Lady Demo, Rearrange Demo, and then finally the single version of Living on an Island. For people of my generation, this was my first exposure to the album, because at that point I hadn't got the original vinyl. I think I bought this at my local music store when I was living in Boston, Lincolnshire, Never Mind the Music, which I think is now closed down there. But I bought many a Quo release in there, and they were all these Tim Turan remasters. So this is how I know this album. You know, I judge every other version I hear based on this. What did you think of this edition? Let me know in the comments below. The third and final edition I shall be talking about here is the deluxe edition of Whatever You Want, which was released, about 8, 9, 10 years ago now. This features remasters by Andy Pierce, so the sound is different. I can't give you absolute technical jargon. All I can say about this is it sounded brighter and perhaps slightly more dynamics than the other one, the previous one that I talked about. So this album track listing has 2 discs. We have disc 1, which is the original album, remastered by Andy Pierce, and then disc 2 features Hard Ride, a single B-side, Living on an Island, the single version, listed here as edited, then Bad Company, which is listed as a demo, but wasn't it a B-side of something, or am I getting that mixed up? Shady Lady, demo, Rearrange, demo, and then on the second half of this deluxe edition, Now Hear This, which was Whatever You Want, but the American version. This is the Reva US remix. So someone took this away and remixed it for the American market. Now, to my ears, it sounds like the album perhaps derived from a record. The recordings that they're using here sounds like that, but I might be wrong. It might just be the age of the tape there. So be very interested to find out the source material for that. There is sort of minor differences, but you know, it's still the same recordings. It's not like they changed it around or anything. It's not like they replayed it. It's the same recordings, just mixed in a different way. I think a couple of sections on things I noticed in High Flyer, like some musical bits are slightly extended, but not really to the point where it's like, must listen to that, you know. If anything, it kind of annoyed me, because it was like, well, no, it's going on longer than it should do for just like a normal rhythm bit. I don't, you know, that was just my opinion. The final 2 tracks, Living on an Island, early demo, and then Living on an Island demo backing track, which is absolutely beautiful. It's before they put some of those extra layers on top, and it's just interesting to hear this sort of early backing track being formed there. So that's a track listing for the deluxe edition. Plus we have printed artwork inside. They all come in sort of this digipack, these deluxe editions, which I know people have sort of mixed opinions on. Sometimes they can be seen to I don't know, like wreck the disc if not done properly. This one I think is quite nice. We've got sort of a plastic insert there, and there's a book inside, a booklet with interview snippets plus liner notes by Dave Ling, who's a very familiar name in the Quo camp. The previous edition, the Tim Turan remasters, had a little write-up inside, but it was like 1 page long, couple of pages, and then the lyrics. This has a different write-up, Dave Ling, and so much more in there besides. So yeah, that is actually a really good package. This is currently going for around $6.99 on Amazon at the last time I looked. I would personally say that it's worth getting this because there is a difference in the remaster. Some people will like it, some people won't. Go and listen to it on Spotify or Amazon Music and kind of make up your own mind. I love the presentation of these. It's not just kind of a standard jewel case that you got years ago, although like I say, this was my introduction. But I know that there will be many people out there that will say that you're never going to beat the sound as originally intended on the original 1979 vinyl. So let me know, have you got any of these? What do you make of them? Do you think it's worth buying the deluxe edition? I know some people kind of frown on it because they're like, well, I'm buying the same thing again. But there is a difference here, I think. And certainly the American version is not outstanding. Like, it's not like, oh, I must get that, it sounds completely different, but it's nice to have in my collection. Yeah, anyway, I'll stop rambling. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you again for another episode of the Quo-Cast.